everybody, and welcome to Check It Out, the monthly show about what's happening at the Bethel Park Public Library. I'm Mary Mullen.
I'm Elaine Volpe.
And Miss Elaine and I are here today to tell you what's coming up in December at the library. It's the last day of November, right?
It is. Hard to believe. We have 1 month left to 2011. I, for one, just can't believe how quickly it has gone by.
Yes, this
Yet
year,
again.
Yet again. I think we
seems
probably
like every
said
year.
that.
I'm sure we do. If we went back and played last year's December episode, we probably said the same exact thing. But I feel like it's so true.
It is. The year did fly by, and this actually, since it's, as I said, it's the last day of November. It's also going to be our last show of 2011.
It is, indeed.
And when we are back again, it will be 2012. And since we will not, since it is the last show of the year, I thought we'd do a little kind of try and get everybody in the holiday spirit, right? So
sounds good to me.
So we have some Christmas riddles to start with.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's get started. I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. Well, first of all, the challenge is going to be, as you said, to even read them. These are very tiny. Print is very tiny, but let's see what we can do. What happened when the snow woman got angry at the snowman?
They had a snowball fight.
She gave him the cold shoulder.
Ah.
All right.
It's okay.
It's okay. All
What
right.
if I ring my bells for a really good one?
Uh-oh.
You're going to hear me jingle if I like the
Okay. All righty. Now, why does Santa Claus like to work in the garden?
I don't know why.
Because he likes to ho, ho, ho.
That was cute.
Oh, okay. All right.
A little jingle.
All right. No, wait. Well, let's see. Let me see. What was the one we did before? Oh, what did Adam say on the day before Christmas?
This one I like. I'll let you tell the viewers.
It's Christmas Eve. Okay.
Corny but cute. That one made me laugh.
Okay. What did the gingerbread man put on his bed?
Put on his bed. I don't know. What?
A cookie sheet.
Cute.
Okay, let's see. Okay. I gotta come up with another.
Let's do two more. Don't you have some on the next page?
Oh, let's turn. Yeah, we can always let's try the next page. Let's see. We got some Thanksgiving one, but we're way past that. What's the best thing to put into Christmas pie?
Your teeth.
Very good. Yay. Okay. Let's see. What do you call people who are afraid of Santa Claus?
I don't know. What do you call them?
Claustrophobic.
That was cute.
How's it going? All right.
Jingle, jingle. I like that one,
I like
too.
that one. All right. And I also brought a couple of questions that we might pose for Santa. All right.
Okay.
And this is from this book. It's called Why Does Santa Wear Red? And 100 Other Christmas Curiosities Unwrapped. So,
Do we know why Santa wears red? Did you read that?
Actually, I didn't read that part.
That's a good one.
But these are some interesting questions that Santa might consider. First of all, should Santa's cookies be low fat?
That's a good one. I mean, part of me says, well, we only get them one time a year, so go all out. Who cares? You don't count the fat calories then.
Okay.
But then again, if he's visiting all those houses, that's a whole lot of
That's a whole lot of calories.
to pack on, so maybe they should be low fat.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, the first images of Santa, which were created about a century ago, showed a man who is definitely leaner than he appears to be in more recent representations. Like many people who are taking in more calories than they need, Santa's eating habits may be starting to show up as a little spread around the middle. That could be true for a lot of us. I think if any of us look back at pictures of us
Yes, indeed.
from decades ago, we would all look a little different. So anyway, suggestions for Santa might include giving up those icebox butter cookies. Christmas cookies do have a lot of butter in them.
They do.
They do.
They do. I'm trying to even think of a low-fat cookie.
Well,
Ginger snaps are a little bit healthier for you, aren't they?
Gingerbread.
Is that listed?
Yes.
Okay.
Lemon or poppy seed biscotti.
Ooh.
I like biscotti.
Biscottis are good.
So he could still have his cookies. And actually, as they point out, Christmas cookies had their origins back in an earlier age when people were more active, more physically active, and so they burned off their calories.
That's interesting.
So Santa may have to think about that. So unless he gets a gift certificate to a gym for Christmas, he better start thinking of other exercise options, or in another century, that sleigh might not get airborne. That could be a problem. So Santa better think about that. So now the next question for Santa is, does Santa need a GPS?
I would say hands down, yes, indeed. I mean, otherwise, he travels all over the globe.
Right. Well, but there's another, that's right.
I
mean,
would
he
need a
has so many
GPS.
stops to make and so many addresses to keep in mind. But another reason for having one is that could help him reorient the sleigh if he ever gets confused about landmarks. And and he might, and that might be a result of changes due to global warming. Something to think about. Land mass and familiar landscapes can shift anywhere in the world. Warmer temperatures could cause the seas to rise. Pieces of a polar ice shelf could break away from a larger mass. So
Never know.
that's another thing to think about is, where does Santa live?
The North Pole.
In the North Pole. Well, where is the North Pole?
North.
It is north, that's true. It is actually in the middle of the Arctic Ocean, which is frozen all the time to a depth of 2 to 3 yards. However, reports about the recent climate change and the decrease in ice thickness could be problematic for Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the elves. Santa's village might be on thin ice. All right. So Santa better...
So yes to the GPS.
Yes to the GPS. Yes to the GPS. Now, the last question that we might pose to Santa. Why does Santa fly the polar route? Well,
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, the short answer is that flying the polar route shaves time off Santa's long trip around the world on Christmas Eve. There are numerous variations on cross-polar routings that Santa could take. Now, he has a lot of things.
What is the polar route?
Well, I think just round, I guess, well, maybe that's a good question. Is it around this way? I guess.
What I was wondering.
Yeah, I was going to go this way, but that would be around the equator, so I guess he must go around this way. It's a good thing I'm not Santa Claus. We're in big trouble, folks, here. He has a lot of things to consider: the weight of the sleigh, the weather, the condition of his reindeer, and the number of stops he has to make among them. Each year, Mrs. Claus helps him do all the calculations before takeoff, and she encourages him to stick to the schedule. All right, no variations, no deviations. He's got to stick to that schedule. She actually is his air traffic controller and monitors the progress of the sleigh from a command center in Santa's village.
So I imagine now up at the village, Santa probably has all that computerized, technology, and she would be able to do just that, right? To track
Absolutely. And she can, I'm sure, just call in and say, where are you? Have you got, what stop are you at? Have you noticed the time? Can't you get Rudolph to fly faster? So thank goodness for Mrs. Claus. She is keeping Santa to his schedule.
Yes.
So. Well,
that's a cute little book.
It is and it has lots of fun little things in it. All little interesting facts and background about Santa Claus. So let's talk about what's happening in December here in the library.
Sure thing. Okay, so we'll do the children's side first.
Let's hear what's going on in the children's department.
And like I said, I can't believe that a year has already gone by. We are already planning for 2012, though. And one of the things that I'm most excited about for 2012 is a new program that we're offering called the Children's Choice Awards, or the CCA for short. Okay, this is actually an Allegheny County initiative, and Bethel Park has just chosen to participate in it. But what it is it's going to allow the children of Allegheny County to pick what they think is the best book published in the previous year, so we're talking 2011.
Okay.
Every year Caldecott and Newberry books are awarded. And there's a whole bunch of decision making that goes into that, and there are some restrictions. It has to be a book published in America. And likewise, the committee members that are chosen to select that book are very, very carefully chosen.
Okay.
Like I said, a lot of thought goes into it. Still, though, I think a lot of times when it's finally announced, I think sometimes the kids, and even adults, but the kids are surprised and maybe even a little disappointed in the selection. Because I think, we don't know who these committee members are, how they're selected. Like, it's a very involved process, but I think a lot of times they really don't have a kid's perspective. And here they are choosing kids' books. So we thought it was a good idea that we empower the kids to make that decision.
Okay.
What do you think is the best book published in 2011? There's a lot of books out there that get published every year. So, of course, we had to start with a list, and we had the librarians around Allegheny County, both the public and the school, come up with a list and then narrow that list down. So a short list of 8 is set to be announced any day now. We don't know yet.
Are these selections in different categories or different?
Good question. So we're not doing picture books. We're asking the kids who vote be in 4th to 6th grade.
Okay.
So these are like middle age, not quite young adult, but yeah, they're chapter books.
Chapter books. Chapter books. Okay.
Yeah. So that's good. So we narrowed it down, or we are narrowing it down to a short list of 8. And like I said, that's going to be revealed any day. So we're having our first meeting here at the Bethel Park Library on, let me make sure I get it right, I believe it's a Wednesday, December 7th at 5 p.m. And I will reveal the list to you then. And then the children are asked to read those 8 books. And you have all the way until May. The voting's not going to take place. So you have a long time to read these 8 books. And none of them I don't think will be too long. So that's not, I don't think it's a whole lot to ask. You'll read the 8 books and then you'll vote. And then we're having a big shebang in May that I'm very excited about, a great big party where we'll announce the winner. Okay. And we'll have a lot of fun things to go along with it. So monthly meetings will follow. Our first initial one is Wednesday, December 7th. And you can get more information then. But again, I'm encouraging all 4th, 5th, and 6th graders to participate.
Okay. Will the announcement of your winner, will it correspond with the announcement of the Newbery Awards in any way?
No, because I think the Newbery, if I'm not mistaken, is announced, isn't that end of August, beginning of September every year?
Yeah, I think so.
And we're going to announce ours in May.
Okay, it'd be interesting to see when you have the winner from this list, how it corresponds
or if
to
any
award-winning books.
The short 8 were on the, it'll be very interesting.
It'll be interesting.
So I'm very excited about it. Every month when we meet, we'll discuss a different book. Okay. No, there's only January, February, March, April. We won't be able to get through all 8. So some you'll be asked to read on your own. Some will, you'll be asked to read actually all of them on your own. Some we will discuss here at the library. Other we will not, just because we'll run out of time. But we're going to have some activities that coordinate with each book, some follow-up things to do. And then, like I said, in May, we're going to have this great big party. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you know how many libraries are participating besides
I don't have that number off the top of my head, but there's a good bunch of us. I would say there's at least 10 to 12 participating libraries, if not more. Allegheny County is kind of doing their thing too, and their big thing that they're holding in May is actually taking place during the day. So it's not realistic for any Bethel Park residents, unless you get parental permission to miss school. They're not going to be able to take time out of their day. Some schools have looked at it well enough in advance where they're actually taking a field trip and they'll participate in Allegheny County's big extravaganza, whatever you want to call it, party in May. Because I didn't think that was realistic for our residents, we are holding our own right here at the Bethel Park Library.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that's something really neat. Children's Choice Awards, or CCA. Mark your calendars for Wednesday, December 7th at 5 p.m. Okay. The other thing that I just wanted to talk about was our Winter Reading Club, which will begin on January 2nd and run the entire month of January. Kids birth through 4th grade will have the chance to earn a raffle ticket for every book read. So if you read 10 books in 1 week, you get 10 raffle tickets. And those raffle tickets will provide you with a chance to win one of 3 weekly prizes. We're going to give 3 baskets away each week.
3 baskets?
Yeah, one will be geared toward the real young, one maybe for K through 2, and then one for the older kids, 3 and 4. So 3 different baskets. You can put your tickets in, whichever one you'd like to win. But in addition, every time you report, or each week, you can report as many times as you want, but you'll be limited to 1 prize. But if you report weekly, you will get a little giveaway from us too, a small prize. The first week, we plan on giving away these nice bags, which are great for toting your library books back and forth. And you can see it has our theme on there, chill out and read. So penguins and polar bears will be our January mascot. And this bag will be filled with some goodies that coordinate with the theme, of course a bookmark and a pencil and some other surprises. So that's the first week. And there'll be 4 weeks in all, so each time you report, you'll get a prize, plus you'll have a chance at those giveaways, those bigger giveaways. So anything counts. You can read magazines, you can listen to books, you can read picture books, you can read chapter books. Whatever you read, you will get a raffle ticket for.
Hopefully kids will find books underneath the Christmas tree that they
Absolutely, yes.
they can use.
Yep, and you can, that's what I was going to say. If you come to our early bird registration, which we have scheduled for Thursday, December 15th at 5 to 8, we'll provide you with more information. And then I was going to say, you can also start reading. Even though it doesn't technically start till January 2nd, you can start reading those books now and, of course, count them. So, yeah, stop by Thursday, December 15th, not only to register, but to make a super cute pair of mittens that we will use to decorate our department. And you can make more than one. So if you want to take one pair home, that's great, but we ask that you keep one at the library, too, to help us decorate. I started working on mine. And I realized after I was done, if you stare at it, you get kind of dizzy, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty busy. And I think I might make mine shimmery and add some glitter.
Yeah, but then they look nice and warm. The yellow and orange make it feel
that's what I was going for, cozy and warm.
And cozy.
So everybody will get to color 2 mittens, and then we're going to display them in the department. But again, if you want to make an extra set to take home, of course, you may do that. So, and then we're going to have some hot cocoa to help us warm up too, and some cookies. So you don't want to miss that day either. Thursday, December 15th. Like I said, we're already planning our programming for 2012, and our new flyer is out. I was making some edits on this one, but this is available online as well as in the children's department. It has all of our programming from January all the way up until May.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm talking about thinking ahead.
You are thinking ahead.
I'll just mention 2 that are coming up in January, just in case you want to mark your calendars early. We have Sadecki Puppets coming to perform. Have you heard of Sadecki Puppets? They've been around for a long, long time. They're actually celebrating their 100th year in business. And I know they perform in a lot of other libraries as well as in the schools. My son just had an assembly last month, and he came home, because he's in 4th grade now, so a lot of the stuff he's a little, too cool for. And I didn't think he'd enjoy a puppet show too much either. He came home and made it a point to tell me what a neat show it was. I think theirs was on bullying, so he really enjoyed it. So I'm thrilled to be having them come. Sadecki Puppets. Here at this library, they will be doing Aesop's Fables. So it's about a 45-minute performance with 15 minutes afterwards for a Q&A. So you can stick around and ask the puppeteers any kind of question that you might be curious or wondering about. So they are coming to perform on Saturday, January 21st at 2 p.m. We are asking that you register starting at the beginning of the month, and we ask that you register in person. We don't normally have a fee for our programs. This one, there is a small fee. We're asking $10 per family. That's your entire family, though, and that's just to help cover the cost. And then we're doing a family story time on Saturday, January 28th at 2 p.m., and it's going to be all about birds.
Oh, that's a great topic for winter bird feeding.
Yes, and we're actually having a very special guest at this story time. His name is Percy, and he is a parrot. He's a very smart parrot. Well, all parrots are smart. There's a lot of other species of birds, too, that I didn't realize.
Crows are very smart. Smart.
I never knew that. So we already know that parrots are smart. Percy, though, he's just really exceptional. He's a gifted bird. I've already met him once or twice.
Okay.
And I think our audience will really enjoy getting to know him as well. Yeah. He sings, he dances.
He dances.
Sometimes not on cue because he might get a little shy.
Okay.
But yeah, we're definitely thrilled that he is coming, and we'll just have to see how much he performs for us on Saturday, January 28th.
Great.
But yeah, so again, this is out and everything is in here, and we'll give another update, when our 2012 show airs.
Okay.
But yeah, those are just a couple of the things going on. So we hope to see you all soon, and of course, we wish you happy holidays. And on to the adult side, I guess.
Adult side. Well, it's kind of a quiet time of year as far as adult programming goes, but I will remind everybody that we will be having a holiday tea on Friday, December the 9th at 11 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully you can join us and bring a friend and bring your favorite teacup. So give us a call if you're planning to come. That way we make sure that we have enough
I just saw my aunt over the weekend, and she already told me that she's planning on coming because she's come to the other two, and she's had so much fun.
Good.
So
Good.
definitely spread the word, tell your friends.
Again, Friday, December the 9th at 11 o'clock. The next day, we have a program on animal kindness and ending pet homelessness. And this is Saturday, December the 10th at 11 a.m. Best Friends Animal Society volunteer Lynn Reddy will be doing a presentation on the importance of adopting homeless pets. And actually, I think that's a great program for this time of the year because perhaps somebody is considering buying, purchasing a dog or a cat as a gift, as a Christmas gift, and what a better way to make your purchase by going to an animal shelter and giving a homeless pet a new home. I know that's what my son and daughter-in-law did when they got their dog, and it was a bit of a surprise when they sent me this little email saying, well, he sent the picture of the newest addition to their family, and I said, had I missed something here? Well, as it turned out to be their dog Layla, who's lovely, and they took a picture of her at the animal shelter. So, and she's just a wonderful she is a wonderful addition to their family. So, and Lynn will also be bringing along her therapy dog Max to the event. So that's again Animal Kindness, Saturday, December the 10th at 11 o'clock.
Just if I can jump in just one more time, Lynn will also be helping us out on the children's side with her therapy dog. Is it Max?
Max.
She will be bringing him to Bark for Books, which is going to start Sundays in February.
Oh, okay.
So you have a chance to sign up and read to a therapy dog.
Oh, that's another great idea too.
It really is, and they make a great audience. You know, those dogs will sit there and listen, and then the kids just become really more comfortable than if they were reading in front of an adult or a peer. So
great, that's great. And that's pretty much all of our programming for the month of December, but a little reminder that all of our regular programming will be continuing through the month, except for our genealogy group. They're going to take the month of December off because their regularly scheduled meeting would be very close to Christmas. They will be meeting again in January on the fourth Monday of the month at 7 o'clock. I believe it's January 28th. But if you need kind of a little respite from the holiday hustle and bustle, come on over to the library. You know, we've been lighting our fireplace, right? We've been lighting our fireplace. I just put a new puzzle out on our puzzle table this morning. It's a Christmas. I put a new Christmas puzzle out this morning. And
we have to remind our audience members about the holiday play. I forgot to mention it.
You did.
On Sunday, December 11th is our annual holiday play, in which both Mary and I will be starring. Mary plays a wonderful Granny Goodman, so you don't want to miss it. It's called Granny Goodman's Christmas. And Mary here is the star of the show. And of course, there'll be some ornament making afterwards and some refreshments.
And that's at the community center.
It's not at the library, it's at the community center. Thank you. And we will begin seating everyone at 1:45 for the 2 o'clock performance.
Okay, great. And again, you know, our Pinochle group will meet, our Scrabble group will meet, our book groups are meeting, Button Club will be meeting, knitting group, our writers. On the second Tuesday of each month in the evening at 7 o'clock, we have the Pittsburgh South Writers Group meeting. So, as I said, if you need a little break, a little change, if you've been doing a lot of shopping, come on over to the library. You could just sit quietly and read, or you know, maybe play a game of Scrabble or Pinochle.
Absolutely.
Now, if you need some ideas for reading, it is, of course, we do this every year at this time.
It's become a tradition.
It is a tradition. It is time for our annual staff recommendations. I usually send an email out to all of our coworkers and ask them to recommend some books that they have enjoyed in the past year. And I did something a little different this year. I asked people to include movies that they enjoyed and music that they listened to. So we have a nice, interesting collection of recommended titles. I'm going to start with the recommendations from Barbara Connell, and our viewers may remember that Barbara joined me.
Avid reader.
First of all, Barb is
book recommendation. That's the woman you need to see.
Right. She is our go-to girl here at the library for book recommendations. And Barbara joined me, I guess it was in the spring, it's springtime, for a little conversation. We taped outside on the patio. And I know she was very nervous, and she was very gracious to accept my invitation. And I hope to get her to agree to do it again next spring. So I hope maybe I shouldn't. I hope she's watching this episode. But as always, Barbara has had many titles to recommend. Her number one book for 2011 was not a surprise to me. It is Minding Frankie by Maeve Binchy. And I know that Maeve Binchy is Barbara's favorite author. And she, as she says, she managed to thrill me once again with her charming Irish voice and the well-told story about people, many of whom have appeared in some of her previous books, setting about to the pleasure of minding baby Frankie. So I think that, charming story set in Ireland with a baby, that's
a winner.
That's a winner for sure. Then another book that she and I have talked about not too long ago is called Wildflower Hill by Kimberly Freeman. And Kimberly Freeman is an Australian author, and her novel is set in Australia. And it's actually two stories, a story of a grandmother and a granddaughter. So it's the grandmother's past and the granddaughter's present. And she describes it as a strong woman being triumphant kind of story. And I think the unusual location of it's actually set on a sheep ranch in Australia, would make it a very appealing book to people. And Homecoming by Kathy Kelly, again, another Irish story. And she said she likes books by Kathy Kelly because they remind her of Maeve Binchy. And this book blends four women's stories and their relationships to each other in a charming Irish town. So I think all of Barbara's recommendations to kind of take people away to different locations.
Escape for a little bit.
And then there were three others that she also enjoyed this year. One is State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. And this book has been getting a lot of attention recently. I think it spent some time on the New York Times bestseller list. And she describes it as a unique and compelling story with a last chapter that packs a wallop. And it's the story of a research scientist who was sent to Brazil to track down her former mentor, who is a research scientist who has disappeared into the jungle while working on a brand new drug. And I know this book has gotten a lot of attention and a lot of very positive reviews. Silver Girl by Ellen Hilderbrand. And I brought along this is actually the large print copy of the book. And if in winter, if you want to escape, Ellen Hilderbrand is a good choice because all of her books are beach reads because they're all set on Nantucket. And I know she's a very popular author. And but Barb made an interesting comment about this. She said, I always think of Hilderbrand as a vacation to Nantucket with a dark side. And I hadn't thought about her books in that way, so I thought that was kind of an interesting comment. An interesting comment. And then finally a book that she and I had talked about, I think, when we had our first conversation, but I will mention again, is Faith by Jennifer Haig. And I guess with the news stories that have been going around recently, very what's the word I'm looking for? A timely book. This is a story set in Boston involving a family of a priest who is accused of sexual abuse. And this is, but I thought Barbara.
What's the title of that?
Faith, F-A-I-T-H. And I thought Barbara's one comment about the book was interesting. Whenever accusations are made against anyone, I will wonder if they are valid because of this heartbreaking story. So interesting. So she also recommended some movies, but I think I'll talk about the movies.
Books first.
We'll do the books. We'll do the books first. Another of our coworkers who is an avid reader is Pat DiGregorio.
Yes.
And Pat's recommendations for 2011 include a book that I know is very popular right now because there's lots of requests for this. And I have put this on my list for my book group to read. It is called The Kitchen House by Kathleen Grissom. It's an unusual story. It's set in the 18th century in the South. And it's about a woman from Ireland who becomes an indentured servant. And when she comes to a plantation, but she works with the black slaves that are on the plantations. So, and in a sense, she is adopted into the black families, and
Right.
it's a very interesting kind of
interesting.
an interesting story.
A lot of these books set in Ireland, huh? A lot of Irish stories.
Yeah, there are. And then two others by actually a local author whose name is Stuart Onan. And Onan, he's on my to-read list. I've not read anything by him, but these two books are actually set in Pittsburgh, and they involve the same character. The first one is called Wish You Were Here, and it's a multi-generational story. And Pat said, I identified with the grandmother, Emily, as she dealt with issues involving each family member. Then the next book, which is called Emily Alone, focuses just on Emily. And it talks about Emily returns to Pittsburgh to deal with problems of growing older alone. And she said, I enjoyed the familiar Pittsburgh setting as we followed Emily in dealing with her problems, both family and personal. So that's Wish You Were Here and Emily Alone by Stuart Onan. And your coworker, Nancy McLaughlin, recommended two books by an author. It's very popular.
And the one that I was going to recommend is on Nancy's list, I see.
And I've never read any. I have not.
Jodi Picoult?
I've never read Jodi Picoult. I
Put her on your
on my to read
read
list also. Okay. Nancy recommended House Rules and 19 Minutes, and she said 19 Minutes deals with bullying. Is that the one?
It does. It's that's the one I was talking about. It deals with bullying. I don't want to give too much away, but a school shooting. So it's a very heavy subject, but one that's, it's out there, and it was gripping. It was very gripping. I too couldn't put it down. One of those ones that you stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning to finish.
Okay. And Jodi Picoult is known for that. She takes her plots out of the newspaper, stories, things that are going on, and creates really gripping, people have been described as gripping books they can't put down.
Yes.
And the other one is House Rules is about a boy with Asperger's syndrome, which is similar to autism. And she said, after reading these, I felt I had a better understanding of what these children must deal with on a daily basis. And finally, a book recommended by Linda Zabel, who is our coworker, who also is our mystery book club leader. And this is not a new book, but there is a new movie out based on this book, and it's The Lincoln Lawyer by Michael Conley. And Michael Conley writes legal thrillers. And the main character is Mickey Haller, he's a Lincoln lawyer, and he's called a Lincoln lawyer because he operates out of the back seat of his Lincoln Town car, and he defends clients of every kind. So he's one of these lawyers that he'll defend anybody, even somebody that
maybe not always well
liked, and easy to defend, And of course, there is a brand new movie out, I think this past year, Lincoln Lawyer. And I wish I could think of the actor's name. I can think of him. It's Matthew
McConaughey?
Yes, Thank you. Okay. Matthew McConaughey.
I don't remember seeing those previews,
but that's out there. So that's kind of fun to read a book and then see the movie. Absolutely. See the movie. And then in terms of movie recommendations, back to Barbara again, who recommended Despicable Me. I hadn't heard of this.
My son saw it. I didn't see it with him. They went and saw it with the babysitter. But I know they liked it.
Did they like it? Okay. Well, she said she saw it only based on the recommendation of one of our other coworkers, Jess. And this is actually off the Amazon website, was described it as a compelling animated comedy about an aging supervillain's falling popularity at the hands of a younger supervillain and the 3 young orphan girls he connects with. And apparently Steve Carell is the perfect villain. He's the voice of it. And also Julie Andrews is the voice of the character's mother.
I didn't realize that, I don't think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, but she said she really enjoyed this one. And another movie she recommended was Soul Surfer. And this is based on the life of Bethany Hamilton, who is a Hawaiian surfer, and she was a promising amateur surfer who suffered a shark attack at age 13. And I
Lost her arm.
lost her arm. And this is about her recovery and her returning actually to
And her ambition. I mean, what, dedication and ambition she must have, and strength for a young girl to have to just get right back in there.
right back in there,
I mean,
especially at that age,
Yeah,
as a teenager. So.
That's definitely one that I want to see. That's on my list.
Okay. And then actually my recommendations for 2011 are also movies. My husband and I think, spent the first half of 2011 pretty much immersed in, they are not movies, they are television series, immersed in World War II. We watched Band of Brothers and The Pacific. Both of these are 10-part series. And a result of a collaboration between Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. Band of Brothers is actually the earlier of the two productions and follows a unit of paratroopers during World War II in Europe. And they participate in all of the major battles, the D-Day landing and Battle of the Bulge, and ended up on Hitler's Eagle's Nest at the end of the war. And then following the success of that production, they came together again to film The Pacific, which follows the story of 3 Marines in the South Pacific during World War II. And both series are based on actual characters, and several of whom had written books about their experiences. And I think it's among the best viewing I've watched of any kind, either television series or movies.
Is that right?
They were tremendous. They are not for
Well, not hard to believe with Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg producing.
Not for the faint of heart. They are very realistic depictions of men at war. There's a lot of violence, a lot of language that men use,
Right.
and during wartime. But powerful dramas, particularly The Pacific. And I think we found it so because we were less familiar with the war the war in Europe was a little more familiar to us. So,
Right.
But I understand that these two have now been issued as a box set, so you actually can get Band of Brothers and The Pacific together. And I highly recommend them. It's not holiday viewing for sure. You want to wait into the new year, but both of them excellent series. And let's see, I think that's all our movie recommendations.
There are 2 movies that I have not seen yet that are coming out.
Okay.
That I know are going to be excellent, so I'm going to go ahead and recommend them to viewers.
Okay.
They have been based on children's books, and the one is Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick, is the author of the book. An excellent book. Mm-hmm. They are making a movie, and I think it was actually released last Wednesday, the 23rd. So my son and I are going to see it this weekend.
Okay, I think I did
Read the book first, Brian Selznick, wonderful, and then go see the movie. The previews look really great.
Okay.
And the other one, I think I mentioned it maybe on a couple previous shows, Wendy Mass is a wonderful author, my new favorite author for 2000. She's been around for a while, but I just discovered her. And she wrote a book a couple years ago called The Meaning of Life, Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life. And that is being made into a movie as well, and I think that's set to be released in December, so in a few weeks.
Okay.
But read the book and then go see the movie.
That's right. You should, if you can, and if it is a movie based on a book, it's always an interesting experience to read,
compare the
and
two,
to give you something to compare.
For sure.
And then finally, I have some music recommendations from our director, Christine McIntosh, who recommends 2 albums. The first is by Lady Gaga, Born This Way. And she said her favorite tracks on this album are The Edge of Glory and You and I. All right? And then the second one is from a group called The Civil Wars. That's the name of the group. It's actually a duo.
I've heard of them.
I had not either, but this sounds like an interesting album. It's Joy Williams and John Paul White, and Christine describes them as a minimalist duo with strong vocals, a guitar, and a piano, and no backup band. So it's their voices and a couple of instruments.
I'll have to check them out.
Yes, Amazon described them as sort of a folk country duo, and she said each song is like an intimate conversation. So,
Wow.
and the name of the album is Barton Hollow. Barton Hollow. She said, don't miss this CD. So Barton Hollow by the group The Civil Wars. So those are just several recommendations. I hope I gave our viewers some great ideas for reading, viewing, and listening. And as always, if you want to learn more about what's happening at the library, you can
Give us a call.
You can click on the website.
Or you can come on and see us in person.
And we want to wish everybody happiest of holidays, and we will see you in the new year.
Happy holidays!
Her parents weren't even sure she'd make it to her 5th birthday. But because someone like you took the time to give their unique gift of blood, this little girl was given a second chance at life. Help save the life of someone right here in Western Pennsylvania. To find a nearby location where you can donate blood, visit centralbloodbank.org or call 1-866-DONORS1.
Merry Christmas, Bethel Park. I'm Dave Cable, the director of BPTV, and I'm here to read for you the holiday classic, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even, Oh, hey, George.
I'm not George. I'm the ghost of Christmas present.
I don't know, you look an awful lot like my volunteer George.
Well, you are gravely mistaken. I am a ghost.
All right then, Mr. Ghost of Christmas Present. Why don't you come up here on the hot seat and explain to me why you had to come in here and interrupt my holiday special?
I would just like to wish everybody in Bethel Park a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year, and to remind you all to watch all the great holiday programming right here on BPTV.
You know, you didn't have to pretend to be a ghost to come in here and say that.
But I am a ghost.
So, do you think you could look a little more festive?
Sure.
You know, that's not too bad.
You should see some of my other tricks I got up my sleeve.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
Her parents weren't even sure she'd make it to her 5th birthday. But because someone like you took the time to give their unique gift of blood, this little girl was given a second chance at life. Help save the life of someone right here in Western Pennsylvania. To find a nearby location where you can donate blood, visit centralbloodbank.org or call 1-866-DONORS1.
Merry Christmas, Bethel Park. I'm Dave Cable, the director of BPTV, and I'm here to read for you the holiday classic, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even, Oh, hey, George.
I'm not George. I'm the ghost of Christmas present.
I don't know, you look an awful lot like my volunteer George.
Well, you are gravely mistaken. I am a ghost.
All right then, Mr. Ghost of Christmas Present. Why don't you come up here on the hot seat and explain to me why you had to come in here and interrupt my holiday special?
I would just like to wish everybody in Bethel Park a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year, and to remind you all to watch all the great holiday programming right here on BPTV.
You know, you didn't have to pretend to be a ghost to come in here and say that.
But I am a ghost.
So, do you think you could look a little more festive?
Sure.
You know, that's not too bad.
You should see some of my other tricks I got up my sleeve.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.